I was always the overlooked son in our family business. Growing up in Pennsylvania, I believed hard work would eventually be rewarded. For 8 years, I poured my heart and soul into our construction company while my brother Travis barely showed up. I implemented new systems, increased profits, and built relationships with every client. Then came that family meeting. My parents looked me straight in the eyes and said those words I will never forget. What happened next taught me that karma works in mysterious ways. Before I continue this story, let me know where you are watching from. Hit that like button and subscribe if you have ever felt betrayed by the people you trusted most. I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. My father started our construction company from scratch 30 years ago, building it into a respected local business with 40 employees. From age 15, I spent every summer and most weekends learning the trade. I swept floors, organized materials, and eventually moved up to helping with actual construction work. By the time I entered college, I could handle basic plumbing electrical work and knew our inventory systems by heart. My brother Travis was 5 years older and showed minimal interest in the family business. While I was learning how to read blueprints, Travis was chasing whatever passion struck him that month. Photography in Arizona, surfing in California, a startup idea in Austin that fizzled after 6 months. Throughout his 20s and into his 30s, Travis bounced between careers and locations, rarely staying with anything longer than a year. Mom always defended him. Travis is finding himself, she would say whenever Dad expressed frustration about his absence. Not everyone knows their path right away. She would send him money when his ventures failed, always keeping his room ready for his inevitable returns. Dad seemed more balanced in his approach. He praised my dedication while maintaining hope that Travis would eventually mature. "The business will go to whoever earns it," he told me repeatedly. "That is how the world works, Jimmy. Effort equals reward." I believed him. I structured my entire life around that promise. I majored in business administration, focusing on construction management and sustainable building practices. Upon graduation, I received offers from several prestigious firms in Philadelphia and New York. The salary packages were impressive, nearly double what I would make working for our family company, but I declined them all. "I want to help grow what you built, Dad," I told him after graduation. He hugged me with tears in his eyes, calling me the future of the family legacy. For the next 8 years, I worked 60 to 70-hour weeks. I modernized our bidding process, created digital systems for tracking materials, and implemented sustainability practices that attracted environmentally conscious clients. Our profit margins increased by 30%. The number of employees grew to 60. I knew every person by name, understanding their strengths and which crews worked best together. Clients specifically asked for me on their projects, appreciating my attention to detail and problem-solving abilities. I bought a modest 3-bedroom house 10 minutes from our company headquarters. The mortgage stretched my budget, but I believed in investing in my future in the town where our business operated. I dated occasionally, but never prioritized relationships, always putting the company first. Then, Travis returned. After his latest business venture collapsed in Seattle, he showed up at Sunday dinner with vague talk about getting back to his roots. Mom beamed with excitement. Dad seemed genuinely happy to have both his sons at the table. I tried to be welcoming, suggesting Travis could learn the billing department if he wanted to join the company. Within weeks, things started changing. My parents began including Travis in business meetings he had no background for. Dad started reminiscing about Travis's natural business instinct, despite his complete lack of experience in construction. Travis would make basic suggestions about company operations that revealed his ignorance. Yet my parents nodded as if he were sharing profound insights. "We should focus on luxury homes," Travis announced one day, despite our company specializing in commercial construction for 25 years. "That is an interesting direction to consider," Dad replied thoughtfully. while my detailed presentation about expanding our commercial electrical services was pushed to next time. Our employees noticed. Frank, our senior project manager, who had been with the company for 20 years, pulled me aside after a particularly frustrating meeting. "What is happening with your brother?" he asked. He told the Murphy account we could finish their office renovation 2 weeks earlier than scheduled. "That is impossible with current staffing." I assured Frank I would handle it, but increasingly found my authority undermined. My suggestions were questioned or ignored. Travis began calling himself co-vice president on company emails, a title that had never existed and that no one had approved. When I raised concerns with my father about Travis making promises to clients we could not keep, he patted my shoulder and said, "Your brother brings fresh energy. Give him time to learn the details." After 6 months of this tension, my parents called Travis and me to the house for what they described as a future planning discussion. I spent the entire weekend preparing a detailed succession plan that would allow for a gradual leadership transition as my father approached retirement age. I included profit projections, growth strategies, and a timeline for the next 5 years. I printed copies for everyone, believing this would finally clarify my role as the future leader of the company. We gathered in my parents' living room that Tuesday evening. Mom had prepared coffee and pie, creating an atmosphere that felt strangely formal yet familial. My father sat in his favorite leather chair, looking unusually serious. "Boys," he began, "your mother and I are getting older. We need to make arrangements for the future of the family and the business." I nodded, reaching for my presentation folder. Travis lounged on the sofa, scrolling through his phone until Mom gently touched his arm. After considerable thought and discussion, Dad continued, "We have decided that Travis will inherit the family business, the house, and the majority of our financial assets." The words hung in the air. I sat frozen, certain I had misheard. "Your brother deserves it," Dad added, as if that explained everything. Mom nodded in agreement. "Travis needs this opportunity, Jimmy. You have always been the capable one. You will land on your feet no matter what." I struggled to form words. 8 years, I finally managed to say. "I have given 8 years to the company. Travis has been back for 6 months. But he is the oldest," Mom replied, as if that settled the matter. "We have already transferred ownership," Dad explained, avoiding my eyes. "The paperwork was finalized last week. Travis now owns 100% of the company's shares. We have also put the house in his name and moved our savings to a joint account with him." I looked at Travis, who had the decency to appear slightly uncomfortable before his face settled into something resembling sympathy. "Do not worry, little brother," he said. "I will keep you on as an employee. Your job is safe." "My job?" I repeated, my voice sounding distant to my own ears. "The job I have been doing while you were surfing in California. While you were failing at startups, that job." "James, watch your tone," my father warned. "This decision is final." I drove home in a state of shock. The streetlights blurred through tears I refused to let fall. My phone buzzed repeatedly with calls from my parents, but I could not bear to hear more justifications. That night, I sat in my kitchen until 3 in the morning, replaying every conversation, every promise, every late night I had spent working on company proposals. Had I misunderstood something fundamental about my place in the family? Had there been signs I missed? The next morning, I called Alex, my best friend since high school. "They did what he exclaimed," after I explained the situation. "That is insane, Jimmy. You built that company into what it is today. Everyone knows that." His outrage validated my own feelings, making the betrayal slightly easier to bear. "What are you going to do?" he asked. "I do not know," I admitted. "Go to work today, I guess. What choice do I have?" At the office, the atmosphere had already changed. Diane, our accountant for 15 years, pulled me into her office and closed the door. "Jimmy, I thought you should know. Travis has been given 100% ownership of the company." He called me this morning asking about transferring funds to his personal account. How much, I asked. $50,000. He said it was a management bonus. That afternoon, I overheard Travis on the phone discussing the possibility of relocating the company to Charlotte, where his girlfriend lived. We had 60 local employees, many who had been with us for over a decade, all with families and homes in Pennsylvania. Over the next 2 weeks, tension built throughout the company. Travis implemented arbitrary new rules, including requiring my approval emails to go through him first. He started questioning expenses I had previously authorized and changed vendor relationships I had carefully cultivated. I began documenting everything, every poor decision, every client complaint about Travis, every procedural violation. I was not sure what I would do with this information, but it gave me some sense of control. My parents became increasingly distant. They stopped inviting me to Sunday dinners. My calls went unanswered or were returned days later with terse conversations. Mom would ask how I was doing, but change the subject whenever I mentioned the company. Sleep became elusive. I would lie awake, cataloging the injustice, imagining confrontations that would never happen, rehearsing speeches I would never deliver. During the day, I maintained a professional demeanor, but my health began to suffer. I lost weight. The job I have been doing while you were surfing in California, while you were failing at startups, that job. James, watch your tone, my father warned. This decision is final. I drove home in a state of shock. The streetlights blurred through tears I refused to let fall. My phone buzzed repeatedly with calls from my parents, but I could not bear to hear more justifications. Richard Blackwell, who had worked exclusively with our company for his retail locations for 8 years, pulled me aside during a site visit. Jimmy, what is going on? 3 of my calls to your brother went unreturned, and when I finally reached him, he seemed unfamiliar with the basic details of our agreement. I made excuses, fixed problems behind the scenes, and watched as the company my father built and I had grown began to crumble under Travis's leadership. 4 major clients canceled their contracts within a single month. 2 of our most experienced project managers quit after Travis belittled them in front of their crews. Suppliers started requiring payment up front after several of our checks were delayed. I discovered Travis had been taking company funds for personal expenses, a new sports car, a vacation to Bermuda, with his girlfriend memberships to exclusive clubs. The company credit cards were maxed out. Payroll was delayed twice. Then Frank, our loyal project manager, resigned after 22 years. I am sorry, Jimmy, he told me. I cannot work like this. Nobody can. That night I finally decided I had to confront Travis directly. I found him in what had once been my father's office, feet up on the desk on a video call with someone about a potential investment in a nightclub. We need to talk, I said after he ended his call. The company is in serious trouble. Always so dramatic, Travis laughed. We are making changes, that is all. Change is uncomfortable. We have lost 4 major clients. 6 employees have quit. Our credit is shot. This is not change. This is destruction. Travis's face hardened. If clients are leaving, maybe it is because you are sabotaging me. I have seen how they all ask for you, how the employees come to you instead of me. Perhaps you are the problem, Jimmy. I have given everything to this company. I said, my voice shaking. And now it is my company, Travis replied. Maybe it is time you found somewhere else to give your everything. That night, my father called. Not to check on me, but to tell me to be reasonable and help my brother through this transition period. He spoke as if Travis were making minor management adjustments rather than driving the business into bankruptcy. Then the text from my mother arrived, mortgage payment on house is due. Bank called. Please talk to your brother about company finances. I stared at the message for a long time before typing my reply, ask your heir. Then I turned off my phone, sat down at my kitchen table, and made the hardest decision of my life. After 8 years of dedication, I would walk away from the family business. not just for my sanity, but because staying would make me complicit in its destruction. The next morning, I submitted my resignation effective immediately. Travis accepted it with visible relief, already talking about how he would restructure my responsibilities. Before leaving, I visited our major clients to say goodbye personally. Many expressed shock and concern. "Your brother does not understand our industry," said Michael Thompson, who ran a chain of medical offices we had built and maintained. "If you ever start your own operation, call me first." Similar sentiments came from other clients. Their words planted a seed in my mind. I spent the next week in a daze, sleeping late and ignoring calls from my parents. The betrayal felt physical, a constant ache in my chest that made it difficult to plan my next steps. Then Alex showed up at my door with takeout and determination. "Enough wallowing," he announced. "You built one successful construction business. You can build another." His confidence sparked something in me. The next day, I used my savings to consult with Patricia Reynolds, one of the top business attorneys in the state. I explained my situation in detail, including Travis's mismanagement of company resources. "There might be some legal issues with how your brother is running the company," she said, after reviewing my documentation, particularly regarding the misuse of company funds and potential fraud with client contracts. "However, pursuing this would mean suing your family. Are you prepared for that?" I considered her question carefully. "No," I finally answered. "I do not want revenge. I want a fresh start." With Patricia's guidance, I developed a business plan for a new construction company focusing on sustainable commercial projects, exactly the direction I had wanted to take the family business. I secured a small business loan using my house as collateral and leased a modest office space across town. Within 2 weeks, Frank called me. "Heard you are starting something new. Need a project manager." He was the first of several former employees who reached out. Within a month, I had assembled a small but experienced team of 8 people who shared my vision and work ethic. I was transparent with everyone about what had happened with my family. No exaggerations, no villainizing, just the facts. This honesty became part of our company culture: clear communication, fair treatment, and recognition for contributions. Michael Thompson became our first client, contracting us to build his newest medical office. 2 more former clients followed quickly. Each project was completed on time and on budget, with sustainability features that saved them money long term. Meanwhile, the family business was collapsing. Suppliers refused to extend credit. 3 major projects remained unfinished. Employees were leaving weekly. My parents called with increasing desperation. "Can you talk to your brother?" my father asked. "He does not listen to us." "That sounds familiar," I replied, unable to keep the bitterness from my voice. My mother left tearful voicemails about bill collectors calling. The mortgage on the family home went into foreclosure proceedings. The luxury car Travis had bought was repossessed from the company parking lot. 4 months after my resignation, Travis disappeared. He cleaned out what remained in the company accounts and left for parts unknown. My father called me, his voice breaking, as he finally admitted, "We made a terrible mistake, Jimmy. I am sorry you are going through this," I told my father, "but I cannot fix it. I have my own company to run now." 1 year later, my new company was thriving. We had grown to 22 employees and had a solid reputation for quality work and ethical business practices. I implemented a profit-sharing program, so everyone benefited from our success. We won a regional award for innovative green building techniques. I bought a new home, one I had earned entirely through my own efforts. The sense of accomplishment was far sweeter than anything I had felt working for the family business. Travis was reportedly in Arizona working at a resort. The family business had been liquidated to pay debts. My parents had moved to a small apartment living primarily on Social Security. I had complex feelings about their situation: satisfaction that consequences had occurred, guilt about not helping more, lingering hurt that colored every thought of them. Then one rainy Tuesday, I ran into my father at a local coffee shop. He had aged considerably, his once commanding presence diminished. We sat awkwardly at a small table, steam rising from our cups. "Your company is doing well," he said. "I see your signs around town." I nodded, unsure what to say. "Jimmy, I was wrong," he continued, his voice catching. "We were terribly wrong. About everything." Tears filled his eyes. I lost sight of what really matters. "I thought I was being fair to both my sons, but I was blind to who you both really were." His apology unleashed a flood of emotions I had suppressed for months. Anger, hurt, a desperate wish that this recognition had come before so much damage was done. Why? I asked the question that had haunted me for over a year. Why did you say he deserved it? What did I fail to do? My father shook his head. "Nothing. You did nothing wrong. Travis was always more fragile, more demanding of attention. Your mother and I worried about him constantly while taking your stability for granted. We thought giving him responsibility would help him mature. Instead, we destroyed what you built and enabled his worst tendencies." It was not a satisfying answer, but it was an honest one. In the months that followed, I worked with a therapist to process the betrayal and its aftermath. I learned that family trauma leaves deep marks, but does not have to define your future. I built new relationships based on mutual respect rather than obligation. I maintained careful boundaries with my parents while slowly rebuilding communication. I found unexpected healing in mentoring young contractors, sharing knowledge while warning about the pitfalls of mixing business with family. I discovered that success truly is the best response to betrayal, not out of spite, but as affirmation of your own worth. An unexpected peace came from standing on achievements that were unquestionably mine. The company culture I created reflected my values. Hard work is rewarded, contribution is recognized, and everyone shares in success. The pride I feel watching my employees buy their first homes or send their children to college far outweighs any lingering resentment. The most profound lesson I learned is that true family is defined by actions, not blood. Self-worth cannot be determined by others, even parents. Sometimes betrayal leads to greater opportunities if you have the courage to rebuild. Strength comes not from never falling, but from creating something new from the ruins. The journey from betrayal to success taught me that losing everything can sometimes mean gaining something more valuable: self-determination and peace. While I would never wish such painful lessons on anyone, I am grateful for the person I have become through overcoming them. Forgiveness remains complicated, but moving forward does not require forgetting the lessons learned. What about you? Have you ever experienced betrayal that ultimately led to something better in your life? Share your story in the comments below. If this resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more real-life experiences. Also, consider sharing this with someone who might be struggling with family betrayal. Sometimes, knowing others have walked similar paths can provide comfort in difficult times. Thank you for listening to my story. Remember, your worth is not determined by those who fail to see it, but by the life you build despite their blindness.